So I've been trying to find God. And I thought bigger glasses would help. But they're a little fuzzy. I thought I would start on the outside to find God. To look under the chairs. To look all over the place. Oh my goodness, that's a look. And I was kind of said, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I keep looking for it in other people's reactions to me. I find that people stare at me, and I don't know why. And sometimes they look at me and they laugh. Sometimes they look at me and they smile lightly. And sometimes they look at me and I see a sad look on their face. And I think that's who I am, and that's what my God is. Okay, enough's enough. I've been trying to find God most of my childhood because I didn't like the one being offered to me. And so I kept looking, and then into my adulthood when, well, I got to tell you, I'd like to say that the rough behaviors started in my adulthood, but they didn't. The behaviors started as a little boy. Those terrible, terrible behaviors. Liar, thief, sneak, what have you. So, but in all that, I was searching for God. Or searching for love. Or searching for a feeling. You know, and then, well, it was when I got much older that I found cigarettes, you know, 6th grade. And, oh my goodness, I felt special smoking. I felt very special smoking. You know, in 7th grade, I taught myself how to drive. So many of you have seen my show. And so I could drive around town smoking my cigarettes. And by 15, well, I found the bars. And I felt special. I felt, I'm getting away with something. I'm doing something other kids don't do and that my family wouldn't approve of, but only because they don't understand. That's how I felt about driving. I didn't understand why my family was upset. That at 12, 13, 14, 15, I'm driving around. The police never stopped me. But I thought, because I got a feeling. So it's very clear to me now, in my more educated understanding, I was searching for God. When I was driving around, I felt connected. When I would do this, I felt connected. When I got attention in bars, I felt special and connected. When I would witness a lovely thing happening for a friend of mine, I felt connected. I rarely experienced wonderful things happening for me that would bring up emotions. But I could witness it in others, God, what I would call a God moment, you know, something that is so generous or something where families were connected. And so I thought, I see God here. At 15, I think I was 15 or 16, and I discovered the cemetery in my hometown. We had always gone there my whole life to put flowers on the family's graves. But this one day, I really got connected. I thought, Now, by that time, I had been baptized in my mother and stepfather's church, which was my church too for a few years, Church of Christ. And I've told you before that when I was baptized, I think I was 12. And I went forward for the altar call because in that church, you choose to be baptized when you believe you know right from wrong. And I knew that day, I knew right from wrong. I didn't know if I would behave that way, but I knew the difference. I completely knew the difference, even in that I asked my mother to come to church that night because I was going to. That Sunday night, we went to church several times a week back then. Kenneth would understand that. But I deliberately did not ask my stepfather to come because I didn't like him. So even then I knew I'm excluding someone who had introduced us to that church. I deliberately withheld love while I was going forth to accept that I knew right from wrong. And I'll tell you something, after that ritual the next day, I knew things I didn't know before. I just intuitively knew them. So there is something to ritual. We'll be opening the bath afterward. For all of you who wish to come forward, stick your head in there. Can you imagine? I mean, Church of Christ, it's immersion. You're just thrown back into the water. But I was looking for God, even at that early age. I was searching for the source of love. Because I really couldn't find it in the people I was around because they were so confused. I don't hate these people, but they were so confused. So many things and they took life at face value. They took the world at face value. And I could see that now. And so I rebelled in my own way, not fighting for God, but fighting for something else. You know, there had to be an eternal source of joy. And the people around me kept fighting that. It's like, no. Sickness is real. Money is real. Our unhappiness is real. Divorce is real. Your dad left. That's what's real. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. And that's what my household kept claiming as the reality of life. And that could not be it. I knew it. And so I had to go sneak around in my search. Now, in my sneakiness, I became a sneak. You know, and I got addicted to sensation. If you steal something, oh, you smoke a cigarette, oh, you drive a car illegally, oh. Even today, I love driving. I really, really love driving. I feel a sense of freedom about it. It gives me a sense of meditation as a rule. And so I've never gotten over that. Thank goodness I don't need the substances anymore except sugar and carbohydrates. And if that's the worst thing, so be it. I would prefer to release those as well. Those seem to be my one blockage still between God and myself. That and thinking. But in my search, I kept trying different things. I remember Vacation Bible School as a kid. Anybody go to Vacation Bible School when you were a kid? And I was angry. Every year they'd make me go. And it was the week the playground was opening. So I would miss I would miss the opening of the playground. However, by Friday, I was so glad I had been there all week. I was there with a group of kids, and I couldn't tell you one thing we learned that week, but I remember the celebratory atmosphere of it all. And on Friday night would be the big celebration where whoever brought the most kids to it got to break a record over the minister's head. Now, I never won that. Oh, sure, it was an album, a 33 album. He'd sit there and then whoever would break it over his head. It didn't hurt. He had hair. I would have a big gash, but others would not. This would not be an issue. You could do this on John, he'd have no problem. The record would just bounce right back off. But I was searching. Anybody? Do you feel like you've been searching for your higher power most of your life and not quite grasping it? But the world took precedence. Your belief in the world, in the physical, emotional world, had a stronger impact than the spiritual world. And that's why I called today, how did I call it? Where can I find God? What did I call this talk? I knew something about finding God. But nobody in my childhood told me, Shawn, stop looking for God. You'll never find God any more than you'll find air. You won't find God any more than you'll find air. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. It's your understanding of God that needs work. Not the connection, you cannot be separate from God, Shawn. I wasn't taught that. I was taught that I had better get well behaved, or there would be consequences. That's what I was taught. Now, I'm not mad at those people. All that stuff brought me here. So not one bit of it was bad. I am not a recovering anything in regards to religion. All of it brought me on my journey to get here, to greater understanding. And I have a hard time when people say, oh, that was terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was your journey to get you here. It hurt your feelings, but really, would you pick another life? And how could you and be who you are today? And someone said, well, I don't like who I am today. It's like, well, get on board with that. Get on board with who you are today, that you could like this being. Because you're not going to go back and change all that except the meaning of it. And so to look at that and say, oh, so there is no punishment. There are results, no consequences, but results. There's always results of my thinking. Always, always, always. And that which I know to be God will not intervene and tell me not to think that. But I am continuously offered new ways to think. Everywhere I am, everywhere I look, every book I read offers me a new, brighter way to think with divine intelligence instead of victim consciousness, to think with spiritual awareness. I've been reading a few memoirs of some fundamentalist Christians lately, and I'm having a great time reading about their journey. Within their belief, I can reinterpret certain things. You know, God, for me, does not have a personality that thinks. But that doesn't make them wrong. It's just their path. When it comes down to it, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And that's why someone who believes this way can manifest just as easily as someone who believes this way, who thinks this way. Manifestation is just manifestation from source. If I believe I can manifest, then I'm going to manifest. And if I don't believe I can manifest, then I'm going to manifest that which I don't believe. I will always manifest that which I do believe. Let's be clear on this now. I am always going to manifest that which I believe. Now, I have manifested a few things I didn't know I believed, brightly and not so brightly. But it shows me, my world around me shows what I believe, what I think, what I believe. It's never a punishment. There's never any sense that there's something out to get me. You know, how often do we say, why me, God? Why me, God? Why can't it be easier, God? I thought I was doing the work I'm supposed to do. How come it isn't easier, God? And, well, I don't know. But rather than blame myself for not thinking rightly, acknowledge, oh, I believe in a source and a supply. I'm praying right now. Even if I'm praying in a screwy way, it tells me I believe in a God. I believe in a source. I believe in a supply. I believe in manifestation. I believe in joy. I believe in peace. I believe in wisdom. I believe in knowledge. I believe in presence. I believe. I clearly believe. Now, what do I believe that belief can do? Has anybody here ever had an instantaneous healing? Okay, so for all of you who didn't raise your hand, what you can now know is it's possible. Because if they've done it, I can do it. We are all one. If any one being has done it, that means I can do it too. And that's what I went on, the basis of that belief for my own few instantaneous healings. I've had some long-term healings, but I've had healings, multiple healings in my life. And everyone in this room has had what would seem like miraculous healings of some sort. Some are more magnified than others. Others have had to go through larger processes towards healings. But I know some of you who have been through a large process of healing and you healed where some others didn't. And so, or the healing was to transition the body. Is any of it not healing? Is anybody sick after they transition? My thought is no. I think healing is of the body. It might start first in the mind, but it's of the body. But without the body, what does sickness have to hold on to? And so I don't have to fear death. Now I'm working on not fearing life. You with me? Mm-hmm. Look at your neighbor and say, he's talking to you. Gabe, he's talking to you. Play along. So I no longer have to fear death. Now let's work on not fearing life. And someone would say, I don't fear life. And I'd say, well, I bet you fear some part of it. There's some aspect. We all have our categories. But to acknowledge it and say, oh, I'm still afraid of that. Oh, I'm still itchy about that. I'm still uncomfortable. I'm still worried about the outcome of that or that. And so to look at these things and say, oh, do I need to be worried about that? Do I need to be? Is that a requirement? Is that something God needs from me? What is this worry protecting me from? Is it protecting me from a greater worry? But it still comes down to prayer means I do believe, which means I have found God in my mind. We can't locate God in any specific place, but we can realize, oh, I'm now using God in my mind. We can use it. We can't find it. We can suddenly discover the awareness of it. But you can't find what is not lost. You can only find your awareness of it. We call it God here in Unity. Other people call it other things. And it's the same thing. It is the source, the supply. It is invisible and works through the visible. Kenneth's saying, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I've looked high, I've looked low, I've looked everywhere, and I haven't found what I'm looking for. So it tells me, if I'm looking for comfort, I'm probably not going to find it while I'm in a body. If I'm looking for ease all the time, I will only find it in willingness. If I'm looking for ease all the time. If I asked somebody once years ago, he was chairing an event and a meeting I was at with a group, and he said, I just want everything to go perfectly. And I said, what does that mean? He said, and instantly he said, no conflict. Because conflict clearly represented an absence of God. Conflict represented an absence of peace. Or, in this case, probably an absence of control. I have one good friend, and we're discovering through his journey that his greatest issue is self-reliance. That he needs to get it done. And so it says, I don't yet have faith in that invisible presence. I haven't yet directed my faith that there are easy ways to do these things which I have been working so hard to do. And so I feel like my talk's all over the place today, and I don't care. Oh, I'm so glad. So we're going to close it out here with these thoughts to take with us. These are the things I just beg of you almost to take with you, to really use through easy times and hard times. As God is for me, no thing could be against me. All things are working together for good. Breathe. 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 I don't know what this is for. And one of my very favorites is up on the wall there, and it says, your joy is chasing you down the street. I forget who told me that originally, And then I passed it on to you guys. Your joy. So my joy is chasing me down the street. I'm going to let it catch me. My joy is chasing me down the street. I'm going to let it catch me. Can we say that together? My joy is chasing me down the street. I'm going to let it catch me. So it is. Amen.